I have a problem. I have become a bit of a perfume hoarder, and it's time to address this issue. So I'm going to do that today by showing you all the fragrances that I honestly should get rid of, but these are perfumes that I'm keeping solely because I keep telling myself that since I do content creation online about these fragrances, especially about these Middle Eastern fragrances, and I'll tell you, most of these fragrances are Middle Eastern fragrances, since I'm doing online content about them, I should keep them for a reference or to do videos on, because every single time I do videos on any kind of Middle Eastern perfumes, that video does really well. So I feel like I need to kind of hold myself accountable finally and just be like, okay, it's time to get rid of them. It doesn't matter. They're taking up space. It's enough. Like, so that's what we're talking about in this video. I'm going to be sharing with you all the perfumes I have literally been holding on to purely because I'm like, oh yeah, I can do content with them. Like, I am, a content creator. This makes sense for me to hoard these. But really it doesn't, because at the end of the day, having more fragrances that I don't really like as much or don't really see myself wearing does stress me out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make decants of all these fragrances, and I'm just going to put them away for myself so I can keep them as a reference, so I can continue to do videos on these fragrances if I want to, and then I'll give the rest away to some neighbors, women's shelters, that sort of thing. But if this is your first time watching this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I absolutely love fragrances. I talk about them here 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. I also publish additional content on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. And if you're interested in fragrance history, I actually do run a podcast called The Fragrance Report. You can find a new episode of this podcast every single Wednesday on YouTube and Spotify. And if you are like me and you're trying to keep track of what's in your collection, be mindful of what you're buying when it comes to fragrance, I actually do have a fragrance collection log and expense tracker spreadsheet for this very purpose, and it's available for you to download in my Stan store below. So with that being said, let's get into it, starting off with kind of like 2 fragrances that both have similar notes, and I feel so much pressure to keep these because these like fragrances went pretty viral and they're still pretty renowned, and I keep like telling myself that I might get back into these, but I think the best way forward is to simply just make a generous decant out of both of these and just move on, because I don't think I'll be wearing these. So Ajaib Dubai by Latafa is one of those fragrances that's like a very tropical perfume. Mango, I think there's osmanthus in here with some oud. The oud has grown stronger over time, and I like the way this smells. Truly, but it's just not a fragrance that I reach for anymore. And I think it needs a new home because it needs someone that will appreciate this more. If I had a smaller collection, I'd probably reach for this more often. But now I have fragrances like Anello from Pernoire, which I greatly prefer. That to me is a far more complex and interesting version of a pineapple or pineapple mango tropical kind of fragrance than this. So can't remember the last time I wore this, to be honest. Similarly, Yara Tous rather. This is just insane. Like, I think I paid like $40, $50 for it when it first came out. And I like it. It's kind of like more like a green mango smoothie. Again, this is another one of those fragrances that went rather viral, but I think I'm starting to get a negative scent association with this particular fragrance because this was one of the fragrances that I actually got after a breakup. So it was like right after the breakup and I bought this fragrance, and I think like because of that, I'm having like, it's giving those scent associations, and I'm just like, I'm not into it. And I also don't like the way, like, I don't love the way this smells. I like it on other people. I don't like it on me. And I have a feeling that like I can picture a few of my neighbors that would definitely want this. So I might as well give it away, but I will be making myself a decant of this. I need to actually hold myself accountable, guys. This is getting ridiculous. Okay, another one that I actually really loved when I first got it, and I have made a generous dent in this. This was one of those perfumes, those Middle Eastern fragrances that I really loved, really recommended, and I still do recommend it if you're looking for like an office safe kind of fragrance. Something with sandalwood, fruity notes. I genuinely like the way this smells. I truly do. But it's kind of like a fruity patchouli. I like it a lot, actually. Might I reconsider? Maybe. Have I worn this in like a year? No. That's why it's getting ridiculous. But I have made a considerable dent in this. If you can see, I should make a decant of it, honestly. Next, I have Aban by Lattafa. This is a bit ridiculous because I remember when it first came out, they put the wrong notes on either the Amazon listing website or Fragrantica. Can't remember which. And I was like totally giving the wrong notes in my videos, and those videos come back up every now and then, and people like are telling me you got the notes wrong, and I'm like, well, I do apologize, but the listing says something different. Anyway, this is kind of like a white floral citrusy scent. It's like safe for work kind of vibes. I can picture at least 2-3 videos that I could do with this fragrance just being like, okay, yeah, this is like a work safe Middle Eastern set of fragrances. And I like it, I just don't love it. And my collection has grown to the point that there's no room for anything that I don't love. So yeah, but I like it. It's decent. It's just not wow. Anna be the original, the white one. I love the poudre version. Love it. Not decluttering that at all. This one though, it's kind of like a pear. I think there's patchouli in here. I'm just guessing at this point. Pear, patchouli. There's like an amberiness to it, but it kind of has like similarities to Baccarat Rouge 540 in my mind. Like they're like distant cousins because they have like this like similar like ethyl maltol, I think, in the opening. And this, like, the reason I cringed when I first sniffed this out of the nozzle is because of, I don't know what it is, but like to me, like it's starting, like it feels abrasive to my nose. And I think it's because I haven't smelled it in a really long time and I'm just now revisiting it, and like I have made a few health changes, I've made a few diet changes, like significantly since I last wore this. But you know what's interesting? I watched a video last night with Greta Beth. She was talking about how she started the carnivore diet recently, and that has changed the way she interacts with her fragrances. And I'm not on the carnivore diet, but I have made several changes in terms of what I consume since I think I last smelled this. And I think because of that, that has literally impacted the way I smell this, because I don't even want to spray this because I feel like it will make me nauseous. This is a pass. By the way, there are a ton of really good Middle Eastern fragrances. I've done videos on them. You can search my name or search my username and then search Middle Eastern fragrances, and you will find a ton of recommendations that I stand behind. But I think in any category, there are going to be some fragrances that are kind of like, especially in a category where you kind of have to blind buy a lot unless you buy decants. So yeah, moving on. What's this? Okay, Ajaib Dubai, the black version. Oh, okay. This smells like toffee, coffee, and oud, basically. The thing is, I like the way this smells. I think it's unusual, it's interesting. Wow, do I actually want to keep this now? That is so interesting. It's kind of like spicy, toffee, coffee, but very smooth. It's definitely masculine. But I also don't think I'd wear this. Oh my gosh, I almost sprayed my eye. That would have been terrible. Yeah, I can picture, I think that this can find a better home. Definitely. I think I'm going to do a decant. I'm going to take a decant out of this and then move it right along, because I can picture a few people that might find this interesting. slash they would actually appreciate it way more than I do. I mean, look at this. I'm not even, like, there's not baby dent. Maybe baby dent. That's it. Yeah, no. So 2 more fragrances that I'm keeping for reference purposes, but I really shouldn't be keeping them, so I think I'm going to get rid of them, are Sutur by Lattafa and Kismet for Women by Maison Alhambra. These are both like takes on like peachy apricot fragrances. This smells nice. It really truly does. I feel like I'd enjoy it as a decant, but I haven't worn it in a long time, and this is just not my style. It's like a syrupy apricot, and I just do not wear that. I just don't wear those as much. I have other apricot fragrances that I like. I mean, I'm trying to think. Usually I like apricot and peachy fragrances when they're paired with something else. For example, Snif Me, that's like a peach skin kind of fragrance that's paired with ors. I really like that one. This is just apricot peach with florals. It's not enough for me, and it's just too focused on the syrupy nature of those fruits. So that's why it's a pass. Kismet for Women, I haven't smelled this in a while. It's a light, juicy, fresh peach scent. I actually do like it. I do like it, but I haven't worn it in ages. I'll think about this one. See? This is horrible. Like, I already have so many fragrances. I need to get rid of these. These next 2 are kind of tough. I've definitely spoken about wanting to declutter these before. This is just insane, the way, like, I cannot let go of stuff. But this is Opulent Musk by Lattafa. This just smells... Yeah, it smells like... It's, like, similar to Anna Abiet, except it's kind of softer. And I haven't worn it in a really long time. It's kind of like Ariana Grande Cloud, but stronger. So if you want something stronger than Ariana Grande Cloud, that could be good. Oud Vanille by Franck Olivier. This is good. This is really good. But it needs a better home. Like, I have other ouds that I prefer. There was like an oud that I recently had someone buy for me in Dubai called Kaltat, I think Love Everywhere. That's a better oud than this, that I prefer over this. And I have a big bottle of that. So like, I really don't need this in my collection, and it should go to someone who would appreciate it more. Okay, I have this other one. This one I might keep because it's for sentimental purposes. This was the very first Middle Eastern perfume I ever bought. I like that. That's pretty. Oud Mood by Lattafa. Such a classic. Literally, oud, rose, a bit of spiciness, patchouli. Why am I feeling so emotional about this? Like, this is the first Middle Eastern perfume that I bought, and I remember when I bought it, I was just getting into fragrances, and I didn't really want to be buying designers because I thought they were too expensive at the time, because I was working, I mean, not minimum wage, but I was working retail, and at some point I was like, I don't want to be spending like half a paycheck on one fragrance. Like, that is ridiculous. I was also in school at the time, so I bought Oud Mood, and I was like, wow, this is just $20, and it smells so good. Like, let me try to explore this category a little bit more. And that's how I started getting into Middle Eastern fragrances. So because of that, I feel like I'll be keeping this. What else am I keeping? So I think I'm keeping Kismet for Women, High Pistachio, and Oud Mood so far. I think this is not too bad. So let's see what else we have. We also have Muna by Lattafa. This is like interesting. It's kind of like a dusty rose with like some citruses, like dusty florals with some citruses. I like it. It's like a clean scent. It's nothing special. It's nothing like out of the ordinary. I know it's like $16. If you're looking for like a good everyday fragrance, just get this. I would say it's nice, and you like if you don't have a lot of fragrances and you're literally looking for something inexpensive, something easy, this could be really good. But I don't need to wear this, so this needs to go to someone else. Another one that I don't wear as much is Al Haramain's Amber Oud Gold Edition. The reason I don't wear this is because this is extremely polarizing. This is an Herba Pura alternative, in my opinion. And I like it, but I think I wore 5 sprays of it the very first time I wore it, and people like did not appreciate that. I like the smell of it though. I just can't remember, like I can't kind of visualize myself wearing it that often. So yeah, it's kind of like tropical, fruity, very fruity, Al Haramain's Amber Oud. Some other fragrances that are not Middle Eastern perfumes, but I'm including them in this video because I can't hold on to these forever. But one is Thé Blanc from Soli Notes. I think I just like put it in this box because I hadn't worn it in a really long time, and I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. I actually really like that, so I'm gonna keep this. Okay, not too bad. Then there's Jessica Simpson's Fancy, an iconic fragrance for sure, but I wouldn't wear this. Like I can't picture myself going for this because I feel like I could easily get like overwhelmed by how caramelly sweet this is. And this is just not where my tastes are at anymore. So this would just not work for me. But it's nice. It's good. I would get a decant of it, but it's not my favorite. Also Britney Spears Midnight Fantasy. I like that. That makes me feel so nostalgic, but I also like because of that nostalgia. Oh my gosh, okay. I kind of overthink things sometimes, especially when it comes to things like fragrance. I clearly take fragrance very seriously. But to be honest with you, it's interesting because sometimes I don't want to wear certain fragrances because I find that they remind me a little bit too much of who I was in the past. And I almost feel like by putting on those fragrances, I will embody qualities that I have since grown and expanded from. So I kind of feel that with this. Like, I like the way this smells, but the girl who was wearing this like 3-4 years ago doesn't necessarily exist anymore. And I don't really need to revisit her in that way. Similarly to what I was telling you before with Yara Tous, I like this, but the girl who was wearing this like a few years back doesn't necessarily exist anymore, and I've like grown and expanded as a person, and I'm like, these are fragrances that kind of embody to me times in my past where I'm kind of like, when I look back and I'm like, I'm glad I grew from that person, but I don't necessarily need to like wear the fragrance that person wore back then. Does that sound weird? Because that doesn't go for every single fragrance in my collection. Like, there's some other perfumes that I'll wear for years, no problem. But some fragrances, for some reason, like I've hyper fixated on on a certain version of myself that wore those fragrances, and I'm kind of like, I don't need that. I don't need to revisit that anymore. I can grow, I can expand from that, and that's it. But yeah, let me know what you think of these fragrances. I really do need help, guys. I need you to tell me to get rid of these. And I'm not going to sell them. I think I got like a question the last time I talked about decluttering fragrances about whether or not, like, about, if I'm going to sell them, give them away. I do not want to deal with shipping. I just can't, not doing it. These are going to go to women's shelters, to my neighbors, people that, will appreciate them. Not that you guys won't, but like, I also don't have a lot of spare time in my life to be figuring out shipping. So just a quick recap, I'm keeping like these 4 fragrances. Everything else, we can't do this anymore. So, but yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting, and I'll see you next time. Bye.